Now we talk to the Ox. Now we get down to business, Domino, because you're thinking about reinventing yourself. And this is where Jarrod Oxendine could come into play. So, Jarrod, as always, a pleasure having you on the program. How you doing?
Gentlemen, good afternoon. Happy to be here. You know what I'm waiting for? I'm waiting for that day that the potential client comes to my office and they say, you know what, the reason I'm getting this divorce is because I'm a Georgia fan. She's an Alabama fan. I can't stand how upset she gets when the Dogs beat the Tide, and so I'm just done. I've had enough. Hadn't happened yet. I'm still waiting.
I'm surprised that hasn't happened yet. Quite passionate down here are the SEC fans in a house divided.
Well, what I think it is when you have things in common and you do stuff together. I mean, I think it's pretty cool. I mean, if your wife is into sports and she sits on the couch and gets into the game and she's cheering and she's yelling and y'all kind of getting into it, it probably leads for a good night. You know, it certainly can bring you closer. I mean, you're looking at your wife and like, I love this girl. She's into sports. How cool. My buddy, on the other hand, his wife just goes to a friend's house during the game.
Jarrod Oxendine with us, by the way. He's the owner, CEO, managing partner of Oxendine Law, oxlawfirm.com. So if you have an inkling, let's say, to file for divorce, you got to understand there's no going back, or is there at that point? How do you patch it up if, after all, you misread the situation?
Yeah, that happens. You'd be surprised. I have cases where parties are on the outs and we file the case and they get into it and some spark flies or they see each other at the courthouse before we're about to have the trial. And I've actually had somebody come up to me and say, hey, do you mind if we kind of take a break and can I go speak to my wife? And they go into a little conference room. They come out and they're like, we want to dismiss this case. That actually does happen. Doesn't happen a lot, but it does happen. Sometimes those folks end up coming back, but that's okay. At least they try.
Hey, Jarrod, the other thing for me is you better have reasonableness on your side with your attorney. If your attorney is fangs out, nails out the whole time, that could be problematic for everybody. I'm not saying you have to be happy during this process, but everybody should feel satisfied at the end. Is that an approach that you take, that I can't go in attacking everything because that's just not really the way this is supposed to be done?
Yeah, you have to know when to be aggressive and when not to be aggressive. Certain situations call for being aggressive, but if you're just being aggressive to be aggressive, even though you've already moved that side into the corner and they're offering up everything you want, but you just still want more, that usually will backfire on you. So sometimes the best settlements are the ones that you have control of. It's not always what the judge decides. So you have to realize when you got to be smart and when you got to bring the emotions in and take them out and be aggressive versus being reasonable and make good business decisions. And, of course, in my office, we always aim to do that.
May sound like a silly question, but I look at the Chrisleys. There was that rumor Todd and Julie were going to get a divorce. Let's say you are in jail, you and your wife both, and you want to get a divorce. How does something like that happen?
That happens. I've done a few of those. Those are not super common, but just because somebody's in jail doesn't mean you're still not entitled to a divorce. I've represented clients where their spouse, for whatever reason, got into trouble, and it ranges from financial crimes all the way down to sexual assault. And we still have filed the divorce. We've gotten that party served in prison. And if we can't reach a settlement, then the penitentiary or the people at the jail will actually transport that person to the courthouse, and they will be there sitting in the orange jumpsuit and the chains and participate in the hearing just like everybody else. So don't think just because you're in jail you're insulated from a divorce. You're not. And frankly, depending on what crime you've committed, your result may be impacted.
Well, listen, if you feel like you're in jail at home right now and you want to break out, Jarrod Oxendine is your guy. Owner, CEO, managing partner of Oxendine Law, oxlawfirm.com, the place to go.
Don't try tunneling out.
No.
Go out the front door. Have a little pride.
Go see the Ox. Jarrod, always a pleasure. We'll talk soon.
Love it. Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.
You got